Seeing as how it's 7 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting of the Webster Township Planning Commission to order. If you're willing and able, please stand and join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to make an amendment to the agenda so that our guest tonight doesn't have to stay too long. If we can add an introduction of the enforcement officer after approval of the minutes. I know we had the agenda is amended. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Thank you very much. No opposition. Appreciate it. Minutes. I hope everybody had a chance to look at the packet. It's not very thick one this month. Any additions or corrections to the minutes from our February 19 meeting?
I'll move to accept the February 19th minutes as presented.
Second.
Oh, thank you.
The printer was giving me some
Well, the meeting is supposed to be closed already.
trouble. Sounds good.
Do we have a second? I apologize. Julie, second.
Julie screen.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Opposed? Thank you, Minister. Sorry for not doing that in order. My fault. I'd like to take a moment. I've asked him to attend so that all of you know if you see him out driving around our new enforcement officer in the township. Would you let us know a little bit about you?
So, Chuck Graham, I did grow up down on Gregory Road, 2 doors down from where I live right now. Went to the Army, was in the Army, and then was in the Army, 101st Airborne Division during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Got out, started doing police work, law enforcement work in Tennessee, and moved back in 2000 to my present location. And so I've got about 27 years of law enforcement experience coming in. I retired from Ann Arbor as a detective in 2021 and have been doing nothing that can be put down on a resume between then and presently. Just putting around the house, doing projects at home and everything. But I did work with Mike shortly before he retired. But I've been in contact with him, over firearms issues and that type of thing over the years. So I'm not, I guess you say this is my first foray into municipal code enforcement, but law enforcement in general, it's nothing new to me. The court process, citations aren't anything new to me. But did anybody have any questions of me? I've met some of you already, so.
Well, fun fact, today's Chuck's birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
I've
Yeah.
got
Happy birthday.
35 never gets old.
You look about that. Everybody, if you ever need to see him, you know where his office is. It's basically behind the door, like around
The farthest distance.
the farthest distance away.
from the
Yeah.
door.
Good for hiding. Plus, he's got an escape route out the back.
So,
Thanks, Chuck, for coming.
Actually, I did think of a question. Are you usually here, or do you have certain hours, or?
Yeah, usually it's going to be pretty much the same thing Mike was doing Tuesday through Thursday. Basically 8 to about 2:30 to round out. I'm trying to keep around 20 hours a week, so to round that out, usually I'll spend another half an hour on like a Tuesday or what have you. But as you can see now, I keep it a little flexible too.
Anybody else? Thanks. Appreciate you coming in. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Good to meet all you. Hopefully I get just a little bit of that dusk, nice dusk weather heading out.
There you go.
It's a little breeze.
It is, but I'll take that over cold.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it, guys.
Now we have an opportunity for public comment. If anybody would like to say anything. Out here.
Peter Stevens, 75 Congress Lane. I was just looking at the 2024 annual report. I'm guessing Jeff Harms was at more than one meeting last year?
Oh,
No? For the Planning Commission?
He was just appointed.
Okay. That was really all. The only other thing is just going forward is you're making recommendations to the township. There's just a lot of people that are kind of feeling the pinch out in the community right now. It would be really nice to hear about what the Planning Commission is doing and how that's going to make residents' lives easier right now and how it's going to help them in these times that people are just feeling a little bit of a pinch. Thank you.
you would have enjoyed last night's meeting. It was a budget meeting, so but those are the guys who are pinching. Seeing nobody else for public comment, Township Board report, Mr. Harms.
Not the planning, zoning, administration, enforcement reporting.
Oh, sorry. See what happens when you show up late?
I was hoping nobody would ever notice, but, no, I think it's just been usual. I think we made good progress with the amendment work. Not many projects out there. I did do a temporary final for St. Joe's. They completed the building construction. They wanted to get started using those spaces, but they couldn't complete the parking lot because the top layer of asphalt was left. After consulting with the fire engineer and then the county building department, I was able to issue the temporary final. They did designate some existing spaces as temporary handicap spaces to the north. Their idea, and then I've given them 180 days, 90 days to finish the rest of it when the weather gets better. And keep me posted if it's going to get delayed. We still have the lighting issue that we didn't get to wrap up because winter happened in between. If our meeting ends early today, I'm planning to drive by and take a look at it. It said you'll leave the lights on.
St. Joe's, or there are people out there, I mean, that's what turns on their lights, and deer. The lights aren't on.
No, Father knows I'm coming today.
Okay. But the one that is on regularly is parking lot.
Right.
Not their parking lot, the La Fontaine parking lot. But those are motion sensors too, and they were on last night at 10:30.
Okay. Do you want me to check on something there?
No, I'm bringing it to your attention if anybody in the public brings up like the lights are on.
Okay.
But they have motion sensors like St. Joe's does, so
Right.
if a deer walks across, it's going to, or a bunny rabbit, it's going to turn them off.
I think that was it. If there's any other questions you want me to expand on from the report, I'm happy to expand.
I have a question on our design friends down on Grand River Drive, BRC or whatever they are. Are they really moving at some point?
So, funny you asked, we heard from the neighbor with the same question just this afternoon.
Okay.
So, yes, they are moving. Their Facebook has been posting updates about how construction is going on at their location in Dexter. They're just moving at a very, very snail pace.
Does that affect us in any way, or is it just the nature of the beast?
It affects us. No, it It doesn't affect us because before one of the abatement options we provided them was to seek rezoning. They decided not to seek that back. They decided to move, so it doesn't affect us.
Okay.
I have a question about I really like these reports, thank you. Under the zoning ordinance, this is not our ordinance, but private road ordinance with deferral amendment. Could you just explain a little what that is?
I can
or-
provide,
Okay.
actually, he can provide an update
Can
on that.
someone just
Better to have her provide it.
Just
Okay,
briefly,
okay.
yeah, I just want to
So
understand
I
what
think
that is.
what happened was the current ordinance requires that once the private road permit is issued, the construction has to be completed within 18 months. And there's no option, like if for some reason, for any reason, if they needed more time, the ordinance doesn't provide any option to extend. And then the other thing was sometimes a private road permit is requested because lots need to be split for family purpose, but none of them have any intention to build any houses in the near future. At that point, building a road within 18 months seems like an overkill. So the deferral amendment provides an option for those folks to defer their construction so that they need to apply for the design permits and complete construction within 18 months before the house, the house permit has been issued. So it just allows a deferral for constructing the road so that fire doesn't have an empty road leading to nowhere.
Thank you.
Anything else for Sri? Okay, Jeff, now it's your turn, sorry.
That's
Sorry,
okay.
Sri.
That's okay. So last night, we worked on the budget, passed the budget for 25 to 26, so this year's, or this coming up, it's going to be starting. That went through, there was a lot of discussion on budget policies. There was some wage policies that were looked at, wage resolutions. We couldn't do the stuff that was done by the compensation committee because it got to us too late for public notice. So that's put off until the next one. There were increases for committees. That affects everybody, so there was increases for committees, sitting on committees, certain ones, obviously. The amendment to zoning ordinance 08-11 passed, which was the extension, the ability for the extension.
The 180 days.
Right.
Yeah, so that passed and should be going in. Roadside cleanup, April 26th, for anybody that takes part in that. Let's see, what else do we have? Anything really relevant? I think that's about it, really.
With regard to roads, it didn't come up last night, but there was an email that was sent by Mike for an April 2010 special meeting on roads, the private roads.
That's the private road, yeah, ordinance.
Okay.
That's for discussing the private road ordinance.
Is that a go, or is that just,
As far as I know, it's a go, right?
okay. Well, all I saw in the email was, what does everybody think? And
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with my township email, I can't get to it.
I think we got the last confirmation today, so we were going to send out, once we have the draft agenda, to all boards, including planning commission. So Tony and Donna are working, I'm helping them work on that.
I have
But
a-
it's just primarily trying to figure out what the next step is for the private roads amendment.
I have a question about the budget, but I just like to, okay, so was some money approved to improve this?
Yeah,
The
there's-
technology here and
There's always been some looking into, but obviously you can tell these are working better now.
they are, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It was a new thing that popped up. I don't know if we have issues with the system, that possibly there's things that we don't know about what we have. There was some discussion, we're still in the process of talking about it. I don't think there have been any real bids per se about what needs to go in.
But it's in the budget.
Yeah,
There's money allocated.
yeah,
to
there's
that.
some stuff allocated for that, some
Yeah.
stuff allocated for turning where the fire department truck was, turning that into a voting area and changing around the layout a little bit. There's been talk of new doors, new ADA doors for the front here. Those doors have been very difficult, and we've been having a hard time with them. So just stuff like that. But yeah, we're looking at improvements around both with the multimedia and layout.
And what about, there was a lot of talk, Sri was working on this, about communication tools, so we can have a newsletter and communicate with residents. Is there money for that?
I think I've just been providing suggestions, but Shelley, member trustee Versek, is trying to put together a plan.
But is there a budget for it or some money?
I don't know. I don't.
I-
I
No,
Yeah,
think
I
there's
don't
no
know
plan
right
to
now.
put a dollar number to it, so the plan's
Okay.
still
so I have to put
conceptual.
it on. Okay, thank you.
I think with a lot of that stuff, they're still in the fact-finding phase. I mean, we know some stuff, but we had some people in our audience last night that have asked us to speak up and stuff before. They could hear us fine last night because of this.
That's good, but this is still not current technology.
No, I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
it's old
this is a
technology,
big improvement,
but at
but,
least it's working right now.
yeah. That's
So.
cool. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anything else for our board representative? ZBA reports, Rick.
All right, we had a meeting on March 4th, and it was a continuation of a meeting we had back in December, I believe. On Base Lake, there's a peninsula out on Base Lake that the people wanted to build a house on. There's a non-conforming structure on it right now. They want to tear that down and build quite a large house on that parcel. And back then, we requested that they come back with, because they did not provide any plans for the house at all, so we couldn't determine what the minimum variance would be. So they submitted some plans, and they didn't take into some considerations as far as setbacks and one thing or another. Tree was able to grant. Well, basically, our zoning says if you got to be 75 feet from the water's edge. Well, 70 feet from this side is over here, and 70 feet from here is over there. Well, there's a thing that tree can grant, and I think it's 50 feet.
I think this would be our first, it could have been our first test case. If you recall, the Planning Commission approved the amendment to reduce the water setback from 100 to 75 if you have sewer connection. This property is a good candidate for that. They are eligible because they have sewer, but instead they chose to ask for even more and go to ZBA. So the ZBA said, you are provided an administrative reduction of 25 feet. Why don't you utilize that instead of asking for more?
But still, if you grant this setback for every 5 feet, you got to have another.
Right, and they're asking for more variance than the administrative allows, but they're not providing any additional buffers.
You know.
So I think they were called out on it and the variance was denied.
Anyway, as it was presented to the ZBA voted against their request.
Any questions of Rick on the ZBA? Anything else? Seeing none, PDR report?
What's up on in here, was
No.
there? Okay.
But I don't, does anybody know the status of anything on the PDR?
Well, last time we had their minutes.
I know.
But Shelley is the board representative, but
She didn't say anything last night. It wasn't on the agenda.
No.
Okay. So I don't have.
I mean, there was a little bit, there's always a little bit, but if we're lacking in that, I can bring my PDR stuff when we get.
Well, I mean, part of it is, and the comment she had made was that because of where the federal government is, there's some question about whether, she went down the list of where the PDR funds come from. And so there's the green belt around Ann Arbor. There's another fund that's a state fund. There's a federal fund, and that has not been approved yet at the federal level. So the PDR folks don't know what they have, if anything, because the state has not come through with their final determination yet either. So between those two large chunks,
And there's been some hang up with, I think she said PA 116.
something like that, yeah. So there's just a bunch of things in the pot that aren't hooked up yet.
Thanks.
That's all I know from what she said last night.
Yeah.
Okay, Natural Features Committee.
So the Natural Features Committee, we put our annual report to the board, and it's in the board packet for this month, if you want to look at it. It's very short, but it tells our mission and other things. We have established a process for reviewing and vetting content for our Natural Features website. And so now we've set some priorities, and Shelley has talked to Sri. And so now we're going to crank out some content so that we can get enough so that we can put up that natural features information page on the township website.
I brought this up before. Aside from mailings, is there any way to get information like that in an outgoing, like, email blasts cost money, I understand that, but
We hope in the future there are many other ways, like a newsletter and an email and all these
Okay.
other things. That's why I was asking about that.
Right, baby steps are happening. I know Mike met with the people Mike and Bill met with the people who help us with the newsletter to see how we can more streamline it, make it more user-friendly. I know that happened. So they're working on that, and yes, we
just,
are.
you know, we're very quiet, we rely on people to come to us rather than the other way. And it's not transparency per se, it's always available, but having come from a marketing background, I'm always like, you know, knock on the door and let the customer know you're alive.
So we've talked about a lot, and I think there's quite a bit of focus on that.
So this-
Yes.
About using the tools we have and maybe getting some more, using them more frequently to reach out with information.
Sounds good, thank you. Anything for the Natural Features Committee, questions, comments? Seeing none, we don't have a public hearing tonight, so we can move on to old business. First item is stormwater management. You recall at our last meeting that we made some relatively minor changes. So we should be able to go through this without too much consternation or concern. Sri, do you want to bring us up to speed on what has changed, you highlighted in the last meeting?
Yeah, I think whatever areas the changes are made are highlighted. They're pretty straightforward. The only confirmation I did not get from the attorney yet is my proposed changes to section 13.120, the surface and roof drainage. We talked about it briefly, but he did not yet confirm the language, but we did talk about it, and it's in general in that direction. I think the idea is to take away things that we cannot enforce and keep the language simple and more guidance oriented than more.
Did he give you any idea when we're supposed to hear from him? I talked to Mike about his delay in getting back to things, and Mike said that he was very busy, but on the other hand,
Right.
it's like if you've got two sentences to deal with, get the little stuff off your desk before you have to get deep into other.
He's usually pretty quick. I know this one's the second time that delayed us, but like I said, we did have a phone conversation. It's just that he didn't give me confirmation on how I drafted the language. But I do have a call with him on Thursday regarding the private roads amendment. I'll check with him on that. I
I
did.
don't want to approve something before the lawyer looks at it and send it to the board. It concerns me. And since it's the second go-around with that.
I think I would defer that to planning commission, how you want to address that, but in this particular case, it's just my opinion or recommendation is that it seems pretty straightforward. If it meets what you discussed at the last meeting, I will defer to your judgment, what you want to do.
Members, do you have any comments on this current draft? I looked through it, it seems to capture what we talked about at the last meeting.
I have one comment, and it is on section 13.120. The number 1 on that,
Oh,
well, actually, you're right, the numbers are up. So it would be number 2 on that. Number 2 and then number 3. The second one, essentially, to me that seems really convoluted, that first sentence. Drainage from gutters and downspouts on residential buildings and additions to residential buildings. What exactly does that mean? That to other residential buildings? Or is that not supposed to be there?
I think it was probably playing around with the existing sentence. What I'm trying to say there is that to new constructions and additions.
Right, and then 2 residential buildings should be gone, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that just seemed like very clunky to me. I didn't know what we were trying to do.
so what are we striking in your, what do you want to strike?
2 residential buildings. So it should say on residential buildings and additions, and then where it says 2 residential buildings, strike that.
Okay.
And then it says must be directed, so
Gotcha.
it looked to me like it was a cut and paste, that something didn't get cut that should have been.
Thank you.
That's
Anything
all.
else?
What happened to 4 and 5 on this section?
I think the reason why that was reduced down is because any conflicts between 2 private residents are usually subject to the Michigan Drain Code, and the intent is to simplify those standards and then just make a reference to abatement of such nuisance shall be subject to regulations listed in Michigan Drain Code.
Okay, so you're saying 4 and 5 are combined in that last statement?
Right.
Well, Paul, the note I have on our last meeting on what was number 5 is that we were eliminating that because it was a red flag.
Okay, then, so 4.
So it was 4 would be the one that, yeah.
Okay.
You think, Sheree, we're okay eliminating 4 because of that?
Yes.
Any other comment, Julie?
13.70, paragraph 14. It says greater than 12%. Shouldn't it say 12% or greater, so it includes 12%? I mean, it's minor,
Yeah, I think it's 6 to 1.
so.
Do you want to change it, or are you making a recommendation to change it?
And that caught my attention, but I don't know the difference between 12% and 12.1%. I mean, is that ever going to exist?
I think your recommendation is probably spot on, because if you look at 14.20, it says at least 12%. So it includes 12.
So,
So we're revising that to say slopes 12% or greater.
Yes. Good catch.
Thank you, Julie. Did anybody see anything before that on 14 point anything? No? Okay.
I do want to take a moment to thank Member Strebler. She provided a second set of proofreading eyes to this draft before I put it in the packet. So I think that took care of some saved time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.
That's the easy part. She did the hard part.
Seeing as how there are no more additions or corrections to this, may I have a motion? There's a draft motion on the first page of the file.
I'll do it.
I move to recommend the proposed text amendment to Article 13, Section 13.120, 13.70, and 13.75, and Article 14 of Webster Township zoning ordinance to the Township Board for adoption. The motion is made based on the draft presented at tonight's meeting, along with the minor changes discussed at the meeting.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call. Jeff?
Aye.
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Commissioners, and thank you, Sri, for shepherding this through. And Kate looking at some of these files. Move on to our other old business item, it's the annual report, and I apologize, I literally don't know what happened between the one that I had worked on at home based on our last meeting and the one that ended up in your packets to begin with. But we've got an updated one, so it was a computer error, or sure it wasn't there. Did anybody see anything that we did not change from our last meeting that needs to be changed? Yes.
I see one thing that I didn't notice at the last meeting. It's on the page 205 where it says 2024 goals status update. I focused on the updates, and I think those are true, but those are not the 2024 goals.
So the 2024 goals were in our last annual report.
Oh,
Those
we had
are the
gone
20
through these, Sri and I modified this slightly.
But those are not our goals from 2025. So
It's a status update on the goals.
it's a status update on the goals. I would assume then that 1, 2, 3, 4 should be the goals, but that's not what that is. So the goals were actually, I think the updates can be the same things, just moved around. But our goals for 2024 in our last annual report were these four things.
Yeah, no, I pulled that in.
So
That's-
It was confusing to me that now there's all this 2023 stuff in there.
That's our fault for making executive decisions.
Okay. So I thought it was confusing because it doesn't look like this.
We changed it around.
So to me, it looks like what was in our 2023 annual report, actually. It looks like the goals from 2023. So I like the updates, but the actual wording here,
So you want to see those, the graded box goals put back to the top?
I thought that's what they were for. That's what we've been using all year.
No, that's okay.
So it would just be more
That
clear
was
to
an
me.
executive decision on my part, going to the board. It was trying to make it easier for the board to look at updates rather than figure out, and particularly with our new administration. But I'll go back and put it in.
But I think the updates still apply.
No, I get it, yeah.
Just the goals are these four things
No,
instead of the other wording.
it shall be done.
Thank you.
Easy enough.
And as always, this is very helpful, this overview.
Anybody have anything else? Well, that being the case, I will not submit this report without that being put back in. Do I have approval from the committee once that is added back in to submit this report?
Yes, please.
Okay. I was concerned last year that it was like in April by the time we finally got this done. It's like, this is too long to accomplish this. So I was trying to speed it up. Okay. Sri, I'll put those back in and I'll send a final and I'll date it so that we know what date it is when it gets to you.
Okay, I think if you want to copy Donna on it, because she's the one who puts the boards back in,
Oh, okay.
then she'll take care of it.
Okay. Can do. Thank you. Does anybody know?
Is he coming back?
10 is how we're starting on new
He
business.
left his cell phone here.
When did he left?
Yeah, he left about 3 minutes ago.
Jeff left at 7:37.
Does anybody think you would mind if we,
Oh, there he is.
oh, sorry. Jeff, what the rest of the board members allowed is to put the goals back in the gray box and submit the report to Sheree and Donna to be in the packet for the board review at the next meeting. So, okay. New business, number 14, section 16.10. This is one of our larger pieces of work this year, unless the roads comes back to us.
I hope not. Okay, which committee member is leading this effort at this point?
I think it would be more appropriate to talk about it.
Well, that's why I'm looking first, but you never know.
We talked about this at our last meeting,
Yes.
and this 1610 is for site plan review. And we identified 3 things to make sure it has all the information we need to add information about steep slopes. So it was really about reorganizing and making sure it's clear. And actually, Shree was a dynamo because she already had a draft. We met, she and I and Rick met once, and then she revised it, and here we are. So she just jumped right on that. We liked her ideas about organizing it to make it really clear. So I don't know if she wants to add anything to that. That's the overview.
I think we kept the intent and the standards consistent with what the existing ordinance is trying to regulate. The difference is primarily in the organization of it, so that it sets a clear expectation to the applicant and it's easy to understand what is required and how much is required. And then it is also has been divided so that it also helps the planning commission to with your review when you receive something, so to check boxes. With that, we can do the usual thing, go each section, and then if there are any questions, I'm happy to clarify.
Commissioners, want to go around the table and give each person a turn? I'm going through it, or section 16.05, want to start there? Good. Anybody have any comments on 16.05? The intent of the article, quite frankly, hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't changed.
So,
It's about adding the steep
Yeah.
slopes information and really just making clear
right.
the other things that were already in there.
I think B was new, because we talked about it and we thought that's one of the major.
Ah,
But it's certainly consistent with everything we've had and everything
Mhm.
else. It's not a,
It just emphasizes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So no changes to 16.05 that anybody notices? 16.10.
I have one question. So I really have a problem as a user with these abbreviations. So I'm good with the road commission and abbreviations that are really used broadly. But the natural features impact statement is mentioned 7 or 8 times. And for me as a user, I would prefer we just keep using those words over and over again. But I don't know if that's just me. Instead of making abbreviation, and then I have to remember that abbreviation in subsequent sessions, and it's new to me, so maybe I don't remember it. So maybe that's just me, but that would be my observation, is just keep using the words. I'm okay with WR, Washington County Road, WZR, but I don't want to create extra abbreviations because it makes it harder for me. But that's just me.
Would you like shortening it though?
Nope, I like just saying natural features impact statement, or if that's the thing.
I'm sure the reason it's done this way is it's consistent with the way we've done things before. We mentioned it, spell out the first one, and then we abbreviate thereafter.
Not in our previous ordinance for this. So sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. But usually when we do that, it's the road commission or the water resources commission. I'm okay with that. But this is creating something new that's only used right here. But I leave it to you guys. It's harder for me, but if you think it's fine, okay.
Yeah, I was toying around with NFI statement and NFIS, just trying to reduce number of words, but I'm okay with either. Or not abbreviating to, it's just a matter of replacing NFIS with natural features impact statement.
But I like the content in this section.
Well, the thing that I ask in this question is, or in this section, like we have in other documents, the natural features impact statement is sort of this, but then it's like, I don't know whether you would highlight it separately or bold it so that you know what the statement actually is versus the context of the statement. As I was reading through this, it's like, well, I'm reading the statement, but I'm not sure other parts of this are the statement. So what is the actual statement?
So section E says the contents. Is it the word statement that's confusing? Or,
Well, I don't know if there's a statement.
because it's not really a statement, it's not a sentence, right?
Right,
So,
and that's right.
I get
It's
it.
like, I don't, like, what is
You
the
call it a
statement?
report?
Natural features.
Like, other ones will go refer to 13.120 or something, but there's nowhere in this.
Oh, steady?
That there's a statement.
So, when you look at some of this and you start talking about, we're using NFIS for this, but you look further down and you have existing site inventory map, and then later it refers to it as the map. And that's where I was saying, why didn't we just shorten it instead of having the abbreviation just be impact statement as opposed to natural features impact statement, the impact statement? Because then it should be designated as the impact statement to begin with, and then carried on as just the impact statement. The same thing when you get down to natural features protection plan. It's not NFPP, it's the plan.
Yeah.
A protection.
Right.
We already use impact statement in section 8. You turn an impact statement and it talks about
Okay,
when it's traffic study and all.
so it's
those things.
previously used for something.
Impact statement on development overall, not just natural features.
Okay.
Well, do you think we should reference that in here then?
There is a, I think I saw one. What's that section?
It's somewhere, it's in the site plan review.
Yeah, but it's not in it, it's not in this.
Because this is the natural features
Right.
impact statement.
Right.
In section 8, it's an impact statement for all things that impact the development.
So is it named wrong?
I think the name's taken. The impact statement term is taken.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we have to use it. And then the reason why we're calling it natural features impact statement is to be consistent with an impact statement, but this is specific to natural features. That one is a development.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It does say in Article 8, says a natural features impact statement in accordance with the requirements of 1610C of this ordinance.
Does it call it NFIS there?
No, sir.
Okay, you made a good point. I think I remember I checked it, but does it say 16.10C?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we should just revise that to just say 16.10.
10, not put C, because then we can move it. But do we need to reference,
Assessment.
do we need to reference 8 in this one?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I was looking for.
Because,
It's in
yeah, because if I'm a new person to this area, and I look at this, I don't know to go to 8 for an impact statement. I don't have a point of reference to start from.
Yeah.
And that was my concern.
We have to change it to multiple places.
Because there's also impact statement, assessment statement in accordance with 1370.
That's what 1370 is.
Yeah, there's both of those in there in 8.
So we decided we're staying with this impact statement.
I think so, because the natural features impact statement, the term has been used in multiple locations in the zoning ordinance. If we change it, then we have to go back and change all those sections. Oh, no, I think, sorry, Martha, we were talking two things. So one, what do we call it? And then two, do we spell it out or not? So we decided to keep calling it what's in here. And I don't think there's a decision made on whether we are spelling it out or not.
Or shortening it or something.
Right.
Right, so in 6, we refer to it as the statement.
In 6?
6, hold on, it's, yeah, 1610,
Page
6.
3 of 3.
3 of 3,
Page
yeah.
3 of 3.
Like the last line, the statement shall include demonstration.
No,
And we can change that to this statement. No, that, yeah, okay, I see. Okay, so then the question is, what are we calling it throughout the section? Are we spelling it out? Or-
Right.
Page is the statement, if we refer to it as the statement.
Well, so my question reading 6 is what statement? So to me, the statement or this statement, I would be looking back and saying, what?
No, I think that
If
should be
you refer
updated.
to everything as NFIS, refer to that as
Yeah,
the
NFIS.
NFIS.
Yeah, I would be more specific.
So I think the overall conversation pertaining to if we're gonna use NFIS is just going backwards to these other, everything that we've been working on, and the intent has been to lessen the words. Because I think we talked about this, and just trying to lessen the words and make it more user-friendly for people to read. And I can tell you this, that in the government, the way that 1610A reads, it's like all these other things, you spell it one time, and then that's it. So NFIS, after you said natural features impact statement, that is how, that's how the federal government works.
Right.
That's how they did work. I don't know how they work. So it's done that way for clarity, so that you cut down on words that you have to read, because quite frankly, in this document, if you look at this right now, when you're getting close to 3 of 3, potentially if you spell it out, it's gonna turn into the fourth page is gonna be like 2 lines,
Yeah.
right? So,
I think NFIS it's a good thing on 2 fronts. One, the impact statement, there is an impact statement that's previous. So this can be referred to as the NFIS, and it delineates it from the other one too. So people won't get confused with impact statement, even the last words of it, it's a NFIS.
So we agreed, initial,
To leave it.
and then leave it NFIS throughout the rest of the document.
Yeah,
And
just
on-
change
and on 6,
6, yeah.
rather than the statement, it will say the NFIS.
Right.
Okay? Back to 1610, applicability, which is where my preference thing came in. Is there any discussion on referring to section 8? Do we need to do that?
So in C, it does refer to section 8.
Oh, it does.
It says review and approval shall be part of the preliminary site plan, but maybe you want a different reference, I don't know.
No. it should happen earlier under applicability rather than, but if it's covered down there, I'm good with that. I can live with it. Anybody else have anything in 16.1?
The whole section?
Yes.
Yeah, on page 303, under 5.1A. So, and it's just a matter of being redundant. So 5.1 or 5IA, that's one. A and C are redundant to the section under applicability. Now, we're repeating the same thing we said there, but probably, if you want to repeat it, okay, but if you want to say,
No, I think they're supposed to leave 5.1A.
it's already under applicability.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out the redundancy.
Actually, it is in A, 1610A.
Oh, no, I think they belong to the mitigation plan, not to the prior one, because irrespective of, because that's more very specific to mitigation plan, and that's where it belongs in the existing ordinance.
So you don't, you're saying that A and C are not duplicate?
No, I'm saying we should remove those two from the A applicability. The two paragraphs in A applicability don't belong there, they belong with the mitigation plan.
So.
The second,
So what's left in applicability?
the first statement,
Just the first thing.
right.
You're saying remove the, oh, I see. So, on the first page, under applicability A, the second and third paragraphs, one starts with in situations, and however, should be removed
Be removed.
because they're
It's
covered
in the
under
mitigation.
applicability on page 3 of 3.
They're redundant.
Okay.
Good catch.
Paragraphs in 3. And good catch, whoever found that one.
Yeah.
I meant to remove those because going back and forth, it made more sense for mitigation because irrespective of whether you require mitigation or not, you still have to submit a statement with these existing conditions and everything, so.
Yeah, in 5I.
Now in 5I, are we removing C as Paul suggested because it's redundant with A? Is that what you were saying, Paul?
Well, we're going to keep them then 5A. A and C should stay the same if we're removing them out of section
Okay.
16A.
Yeah. As I was reading, I thought A and C sounded very familiar or similar.
Yeah, that's because they're in section A.
Right. Okay.
The other comment is under stormwater management, so this would be 5.2B1, stormwater management. We want to reference our stormwater management section. There.
Where are you?
Oh,
5.2B1, stormwater management.
1.
yeah, because we do refer to other sections.
Oh,
We
yeah.
want to reference our stormwater management.
That's good.
Okay. Under D, right?
Under
Section.
D, where we list all the other sections.
Oh.
Or here.
Paul was saying on page 3 of 3, which is 33 and 41 in our packet, halfway down contents, section B, number 1, stormwater management.
You're right,
To
yes,
reference it
yes.
there,
Refer to, okay.
So reference the whole section, Article 14, the whole section? Reference Article 14,
Yeah.
stormwater management.
I had such a pleasant time reading that. I mean, no, it read so nicely, and I was like, this sounds great.
So since Paul brought up 1, I want to bring up 2, just a quick question. Terracing, is that referred to in 14.2? Or is that benching? I mean, there's There are different things with regards to soil erosion. I've never heard it referred to as terracing.
It's,
I know what you're saying, but in like soil erosion or practices, it's generally called it's called benching. So if something collapses, it stops right there. I don't know if it's called terracing in this particular thing or not.
I've heard both ways, but you are definitely more engineer-focused field, so whatever term fits makes sense. 14.2 doesn't refer to types, it just refers to what can be impacted, what cannot be, so.
I didn't know if it gave an example of terracing or benching.
No, so if you change it here, it wouldn't impact anywhere else.
So what's the change specifically then?
The word terracing, whether or not you keep that or you change it to benching.
And that is in B2?
B2.
Terracing.
Yes,
Well,
Benching?
benching is what it's called.
I've got Google up, and it doesn't say benching refers to any of the things we're talking about.
Okay. Does it say terracing?
No.
None of the above.
I think even if you just keep it vegetative stabilization methods, it still meets the intent. And then-
Benching is for slope stabilization for cave-ins, is what you use it for.
How about we just remove the words terracing and just start the sentence with vegetative stabilization methods?
I think that's fine.
Did you get that?
Or you could even take away vegetative and just put stabilization methods.
Well, then it's not a sentence.
Sounds good. I think it's still,
Then it's a phrase. We need a
Yeah,
sentence.
it's
Yeah.
actually, yeah,
okay, you're right.
it's not a complete sentence.
You know, he asked me earlier today if we were going to go through this line by line. And he's the one doing it. No, we're not. Not yet, because it's not a sentence.
We need to make it a complete sentence.
But utilizing in front of
So
it.
we're still working on it.
No, there wasn't. So we should add one.
How about it?
Implementation of vegetative stabilization methods consistent with stormwater?
I was just going to add two words.
Oh, okay.
After stabilization. Methods required to prevent slope degradation and instability should be, or may be, hang on, should or may, employed.
Can you just say stabilization methods are required?
Good.
Shorter?
Yeah, that would be good.
To prevent there you go. That's exactly
Prevent
right.
slope.
Stabilization methods are required, yes.
Mhm.
To prevent slope degradation and instability, period. So back to page 1, applicability. We're done with number A, correct?
I think so.
Moving on to B. And this is just an English thing, maybe. I don't know if current lingo has changed. When I grew up, the word "and" as opposed to "a," NFIS, was more common. Has anybody taken a second grade English class since 1945 or something? Want to correct me on that?
And
I think it's "and," if I'm correct. Well, that happens a couple places. In B, whenever it's being revised, if you go through any time, the word "a" in front of NFIS should be "and." I hope spell check doesn't kick it out.
No, I can find it. I'm just
I was
learning
like,
new thing.
it's like how many spaces go between sentences these days. It used to be 2 spaces, now it's 1. And you know that if you submit a resume to a site and it finds 2 spaces between your sentences, you're immediately kicked out.
We're Where did that, what?
What, and
When did that start?
About 10 years ago. Their algorithm for scanning resumes kicks your resume out if it has 2 spaces between sentences because it says you're old. And they don't want old people. It's a way to circumvent the age thing. Play.
And NFIS.
So there you go. A little aside. Really.
Every time it's,
So, and, okay.
yeah.
I didn't have anything else in B. Did anybody else? C? And I don't, I think there's a word that needs to go in there. Because planning commission approval of NFIS, are we approving and NFIS or NFIS? I think the word and should be there.
Yeah, just like the other ones.
Right.
Unless there's the before NFIS, you said and.
Right.
So, and in 2 places, root
Yeah,
rule
the
of
next
and.
sentence too.
Yeah.
Can we do the or and?
The is okay, but if
Because
there's
we
no
can do the in front of that one if you want a the instead of an and.
Yeah, it just flows well.
Yeah.
The NFIS rather than and.
Okay, so the sentence shall now read, the planning commission approval of the NFIS shall be required.
Okay.
Review and approval of the NFIS shall be part of the preliminary site plan. Okay. On to D. We sort of touched on this, we were talking about references earlier, but we didn't go into it specifically. Yes?
Detail girl. Number 2,
So,
13.75 point K, delete that last point.
yeah, it's got a period.
And then the same thing in 6, 13.70 point, and point.
Oh, after
Couple.
the and also, good catch, yeah. Jeez.
I'm gonna enjoy sitting next to each other.
What fluid did you go drink when you were outside?
I was also wondering for that one, whether to switch, so say grading, section 13.7, and steep slopes, section 14.20, because it sort of changes the order, or is grading also in 14.20?
Steep slopes are referenced both in 13.70 and 14.20.
Ah,
So that's why there's comma after grading. Or maybe I could say section 13.65 grading and,
yeah,
Well, there you go.
and steep slopes, 37, okay. And steep slopes, sections, okay, yeah.
Good there? Okay. On to section E. I believe we talked about E1 the last time around and clarified that here. Anything else in 1? Okay, to me based on that. Seeing no comments, we'll move on to 2. No comments or changes on 2?
Just, I really like the way she's highlighted them, and it's much more clear than in our current ordinance. It's sort of a textual thing, and it doesn't really stand out as much, so I think it really draws your attention to these things. Oh, yeah. Martha just found something. In 2, on the first sentence, it says, "The site inventory map shall show shows."
Oh,
So the site inventory map shows, you take out the first show?
shall, if you use the word shall, then we have to have a singular show.
Shall show.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
Take out
Locations
shows.
and types. Good
Good
catch,
catch,
Martha.
Martha. Thank you.
So all of these are phrases too, right? They're not complete sentences on purpose, so I think we should revisit this when we go get to the next page again. But yes, they're all consistently.
In this, for the site inventory map, we're just giving them examples as what fall under that category that needs to be shown on the plan.
Yeah. Martha found another thing. She doesn't have a microphone. But in 2, the initial lines, the third line, it says the map shall include no commas needed, the following no commas needed. It could just say the map shall include the following at a minimum.
No. I would have put commas in. Anybody else? Do we care whether there's commas there or not?
That's too many comments.
So let's take them out. You agree?
Yeah.
Are we okay with phrases as opposed to sentences?
I am if they're all consistent.
Okay.
They're all
Oh.
sort of a list of things.
Right. Me too.
Yep.
So anything in that inventory map, aside from the commas and the shows?
Should be a comma after character in 7. Description of the quality, comma, character, comma, and health.
No?
Yeah, that one's optional too. You don't have to.
Okay.
It's gonna say you did it in 6.
Like somebody told me a long time ago that the chair's in charge. No, that is correct the way it is. There's no.
Yeah, we did, then you need to change 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's optional.
Oh, yeah.
We
No, it
be
should
consistent.
come out of 6.
Yeah,
That's incorrect.
after systems, right?
Correct.
Take that out.
Yes. take
Whatever you
it
do,
out.
Another
be
one.
consistent.
Details.
Details.
That's- next, details.
Oh, and I'm under 3. After setbacks.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I have to update my settings in my Grammarly.
Why don't you just put this thing on them algorithm things that he's talking about over here?
Because they kicked it out.
Yeah, get ChatGPT to do it for you. Hey, you might not have a job anymore. You go get ChatGPT to write all our ordinances.
That's what reviewed and told me those comments.
Hey, Sri, if I wrote this, it'd be a lot more corrections, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so any other comments, words, or deletions in section 2? Okay,
Just-
everyone?
I do have something. For
We can-
diameter at breast height, which is correct, but, you know, everybody's a different height. It's either measurements DBH or taken at 4.5 feet from the ground. Can that be clear?
4.5. I thought so too.
DBH is a standard, industry standard, everybody would understand.
Yeah,
So are we adding, leaving alone? What's the
I
consensus?
just leave it alone.
okay.
Okay.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, now are we done with section 2? Julie?
It took me a long time to Google
Okay.
that.
Section 3. Natural Features Protection Plan.
Get rid of the comma on 2.
Oh, yeah, trees, after trees. Yeah, ChatGPT must be coming from China.
Yep. The Grammarly is going away. It's not doing a good job.
Anything else in there, Dean? Seeing none? Number 4. I don't see any commas that are necessary.
But
I think it as a compliment that, you know, if commas are the only concern in the document, then the content is good.
We just jumped to proofreading.
Right, so I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So is this a separate report, or is this just information that's supposed to be included in the impact statement?
Where are we right now?
Number four.
It should be included in the,
In the NFIS.
Yeah.
But this implies you're submitting a separate.
so I think we should remove the words applicant must submit a report and replace it with the alternative analysis shall outline, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So what are you suggesting it says then?
The alternative analysis shall outline the approaches. I think you can say the alternative approaches.
I didn't get a sense.
Or the applicant must outline the alternative approaches?
I think applicants probably be redundant, that's a good point, because he's putting together the whole thing. So the NFIS must outline the alternative approaches and designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Must
It's
outline.
included in the current report, not a separate report. So it will read, the NFIS must
Shall, right,
Must outline.
yes,
outline.
outline the alternative approaches, yes.
Okay. Good catch, whoever came up with that one.
It's Julie again, she's on a roll.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Wi-Fi spot in your truck where you can check these things?
Can Julie be my Grammarly?
Yeah, definitely.
On a side note, we stopped using that at work because it records everything you type.
Oh.
There's no security.
Ooh.
It puts it in its database?
It's,
For what?
it's out, it's out.
For what?
It's a program that checks your grammar. It's called
Oh.
Grammarly.
Oh, zoning ordinances are not copyrighted, so.
Okay,
Okay.
so nothing else in 4? Moving on to 5, we got part into 5, anything under applicability? This is where we were talking earlier, so I think we should be okay with applicability at this point, correct? Contents?
So if we look at B again, it seems like these are lists again, but we made number 2 into a complete sentence. But the first one, it seems like the other ones are just lists, aren't they? Or is it a mix?
When I put this together, it was mostly a list because the beginning of it says mitigation measures may include but not limited to the following. So it's like,
It's giving examples.
right, it's giving examples.
So where we put in the words are required, we should take out.
We should take them out and leave it as a list again.
Yeah, so it would say stabilization methods, steep slope management, stabilization methods to prevent slope degradation.
Yeah,
Take out are required that we had it earlier.
to be consistent with the other ones.
That's a list, okay.
We have-
Number 2, we added it in.
So here we took out terracing and writing that, but we're just keeping west of this.
Julie, if I may, in number 3, there's a comment that we don't need after the word mulching.
Comma,
Then you got 2 ands, and.
And then also in number B1, surfaces, remove the comma after surfaces.
Yep. Anything else under mitigation measures, B? Seeing no other, we talked about 6.
You have to remove a comma after state.
After where? Where is it, Julie?
Fourth line after state.
Oh, in 6.
In section.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anything else in 6? discussion items. Master plan, man, I can't talk tonight. See, George, maybe there is caffeine in this stuff. Anyway, discussion items are master plan implementation list. I'm not sure, did you have this last, but Sri had it last.
No, I had it.
That's
So
what I thought.
I believe the idea is, the minutes aren't this detailed, so we talked about these things at the last meeting, and I put comments in there based on what we talked about. So that it's really just, this is a tracking list, do you agree with these comments? And I believe with our last meeting, that we have now fulfilled the intent of the implementation items because we have considered all the items.
Right.
We have chosen some, not others, and we still have to finish the ones we chose, but the consideration is complete. So the ones in orange are the ones I changed after the last meeting.
I'm going to say this up front. I think you did a very good job of tracking this. You can put that in the minutes if you like.
No.
No, I'm serious, because if you go back to the original document, it's a very long, with many squares and
Yes.
sentences. And Kate, I think, has done an admirable job of condensing that into something that's manageable and readable and understandable.
Yeah, I agree. Second.
Second,
Mhm.
all in favor? Anything that anybody noticed? Comments on?
My OCD again.
Good.
We were talking about the 1610, but should we also reference 1605? Because that was condensed and kind of changed.
Can you tell me what page you're on?
No.
Page 1.
Oh.
I mean, even when we talked about that article a few minutes ago, we've shortened it, we're only talking about 1610, but we've totally reworded 1605 also.
We can add that, yeah.
Just for,
Okay.
if you're searching for words at some point, or,
So you're saying down in the square on the left where we have 16, 10, 14, and 13, 7,
yeah.
and
Just
1605?
add 1605.
1605 and 1610.
Yeah,
Done.
just for clarification. We ever find out when we?
Should we add it in the right under the orange thing? I mean, we're adding it everywhere, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Everywhere? In the orange block, right?
In the orange block,
Yeah,
but it's
thank
also referenced in the left.
Oh, so I haven't changed the left ones? The left ones are what's in the master plan. So I have not modified those. But those are only suggestions, so I'll add it in the orange box, what we actually did.
Anything else, anybody in the orange boxes?
So I think the only additional updates would come when we finish something.
Correct.
That would say, recommended to the board on this date.
Like I said, anything else, anybody? Paul, Rick? Okay, thank you. Good work, okay. Seeing as that we're down to next meeting agenda on April 16th. NFIS.
And then you just use the term a lot, well, that's what we're talking about.
1605 and 16.
See, we don't know what an NFIS is. Anything else? Sri, do you have anything?
Yes, I did receive a request from Historical Society. They are thinking future expansion or what they could possibly potentially do. And because they are currently zoned ag and the special use permit they have, they are limited in what they can do on the property. So I had a meeting with them, I explained them the options, and due to the proximity to the township, the potential for public lands category is also discussed. That gives them a little bit more options, but the intent and the description in the zoning ordinance says it can be owned by public or private, but the definition says it has to be owned by public only. So there was some clarity they were asking that might require a text amendment, so I'll be bringing that for your consideration to see how we wanted to address that.
So it's basically just a discrepancy in the zoning ordinance.
Yes, but that also provides a little bit of a discussion to where we want to look at it, because we did have a couple of other properties which are assessor tagged as well, which are owned by Michigan, University of Michigan, or the senior center. So I think they raised a good point, which prompts the question to consider, is there anything else we need to be looking at for that category? What do we envision? So I think it would be a good discussion to have.
Anything else, anybody else? We've got a couple of potentials. One, as I mentioned earlier, there's a meeting on April 10th with the road committee, but it's an actual board meeting, separate meeting.
It's to go over the private road.
To go over the private roads. There is some discussion that it may kick back to us so just keep it in the back of your mind. We may be looking at it.
And I was working on the compliance permit process draft, but then I got more interested in the Article 16, wanted to wrap that up. So I'll probably give a progress update at the next meeting where I am with that.
There's another one that may come before us. I don't think by the next meeting, but farm up off of North Territorial, which is split across North Territorial, sold. There was a single lady who apparently was a bit of a hoarder. And the farmhouse and buildings are on the north side, but on the south side is 50 acres that is also owned by that family and is being looked at with a private developer to put in a subdivision. So we may see in the next couple of months a site plan for review, so just keep that in the back of your head.
It's put up for sale, and they're trying to advertise it that it could be suitable for site development, but it also depends on who buys the property.
It's along, if you go out and look at the map, it's east of us, not even a half a mile. But it's a very long, narrow strip, so it would require, the discussion of the road, because you get fire, and there's no infrastructure, so it's either septics and wells, or they do like a lockout line and have to put in their own, it could be a difficult parcel to commercialize. Yeah, on the south side. But anyway, just keep it back there, it may show up at some point. Anything else for our April agenda?
No, just to summarize for my own task list. So I have the Historic Society Public Land Text Amendment discussion, revised Article 16.05 and .10 to bring back to you, and then an update on the compliance permit.
Thank you. Seeing as is that, open up for public comment at the end of our meeting. Anybody from our public have anything to say? Would anybody on the commission as a private citizen like to say anything?
Can I still get up here?
Yeah.
Not holding anybody else up. Here's Steven, 7500 Trotters Lane. Just in case not everybody here has actually heard about it, the Farm to Defense Legal Fund put out a statement that Cottonwood Farm won their appeals in the state of Michigan, and they are going to be granted status to use the Right to Farm Act. Part of that decision, the judge actually wrote that Michigan GAMS and the Right to Farm Act preempts local ordinance that splits up animal use by acreage and density. Since GAMS already covers those things, just might be something for you guys to keep an eye on going forward. Thank you.
Informational items. I have a few. Anybody have anything before I open my mouth? First, some of us attended the legislative update up in Lansing. A number of us. Jeff was there. I was there. Some of our elected officials stayed a little longer than we did. Jeff had to be back, and he was my ride. He had to be back, so. But I made some notes, and I asked those who attended to also, if they had any comments to bring before us to pass on, and would anybody like to say anything before I do? Did you bring anything away? One thing that I was unaware of, and I would recommend that if we can attend things, we do. Our legislators were there and stayed with us at lunch. So we had an opportunity, for example, Jeff and I in particular were talking about roads to the people and how the funding goes and the lack of maintenance plans and so forth. And they seem to be receptive to it.
So you mean our, like Sue Shank and
she was
Jerry Reinickens, so not ours.
Jennifer, yeah.
Jennifer Conlon, okay.
She was
She's
one
in
that
our
wasn't.
group.
And there
Oh, no,
was,
she's ours.
The deputy
I don't know.
there were representatives from
Okay.
Sue there, but
Yeah.
she wasn't there.
Yeah, she
Okay,
was.
so it
But
was general representatives.
But it was, you're sitting this far apart, and you can engage in an hour and a half over lunch and stuff, and get from their perspective what's going on. So, because they had that, I have not done this yet. One of the topics that came up was short-term rentals, and that is something that is in our ordinances that we don't like too much. However, it was brought up at the state level in their lame duck session. So they are moving that through, which may impact us. I had a call into MTA, but it was just last week, so to see what if at all they have any recommendations for us at this point to consider before the state rules on something.
Because right now, we don't allow them.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
so but then they could override that. is what
Correct.
you're saying.
And
Yeah, it'd be good to know.
yeah, it's in session right
We've
now.
been
so-
expecting something for a while.
All
We've
right.
been threatening for a
Very
while.
Yeah. The other one was stormwater utilities. And there is a bill moving through on enforcement of stormwater utilities at the state level. So that's something else that might impact some of our work, literally we're working on right now, but
I thought that was more public, commercial, like pipes and drains and processing plants.
well,
No?
it's all inclusive apparently right now, they have not segregated it out. So I want to talk to MTA about that also. It's like, hey, is that something that's going to affect us? You know, like with the board meetings, they're talking about road stuff or the road commission, but like on Walsh Road, there's a culvert that needs to go in. They're going to fix the road before they put the culvert in, and then come back and pull the road out. So anyway, and you did get in your packets, John Sharp stayed in the afternoon. There was a discussion on renewable energy that we talked about and the CREOs and so forth. It is still the opinion up there that we don't have to do anything yet, although the fellow who was sitting, was he from Zilwaukee? One of the things that we have not talked too much about here, because we haven't had anybody approach us, is you don't have have to stop at a township line for a large scale thing. You also, the other portion of that is you need to be close to access to utility, to access it, to put your energy into the grid. We could be impacted because we do adjoin other places. The read of it was, there were 2 points. If you wanted to agree on, when we talked about that before, we didn't think we needed to do one. A lot of other places are putting one in place. And so that may be something that we want to have a discussion point at some point and draft one, whether or not we put it in, just have it ready to go if we need to pull the trigger. Because Northfield, could come to us and say, well, we're on your border and we've got somebody who's approached us, and you've got 40 acres over there, and we've got 60. Now we're at some acreage where it makes sense.
It's not just township lines, it's county lines also, so it can go to the north.
Right. So think about that, think about what you think about. Again, we talked about this and said we don't need one, but maybe we should.
But, so we got advice just at our last meeting from the township attorney and our supervisor and tree that said we shouldn't do it, so.
Right.
So wouldn't that involve us talking about it and saying, hey, maybe back to them, maybe we should consider it before we start working on something?
Well, and that's sort of where,
Or no?
if you listen to them up there, that's sort of where they were coming from, like, be prepared.
But it's also large lots, don't you have to have 400 acres?
They can cross the line.
They can cross the line, that's my point.
Yeah.
Then, somebody
Well,
with a big farm that sells it off or leases it out,
Uh-huh.
I need $285,000 because I'm gonna retire, my kids don't want the farm. All of a sudden,
And it doesn't have to be contiguous, it can be
No.
this here and that
and
there and
that's the
that
other
there.
part of it.
As long as it's wired together.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
it doesn't have to be contiguous. And
Yeah.
what made me think of it is here's that 50 acres up there, and the guy goes, oh yeah, I've got 50 acres here, you can do 50 acres over there, and all of a sudden, we're talking real acreage. So anyway,
But we still don't know where the PDR land fits into that.
no, they haven't determined that yet. So anyway, just stick it back in there, and that's what I took away from my notes on that. Anybody else pick up anything they want to comment on?
Just reading one page that was left out in the inserts that were provided to you, just to replace these pages in your zoning ordinance with this one.
I wasn't done.
Oh, I thought you said anybody else.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
no, I'm in on that topic. Sorry. Something else came up. Do any of you read the MTA newsletter that comes out? You should be getting a copy in your
You
email.
mean the magazine?
No, the email.
I get like 10 million emails.
No, but, it shows up like every morning, new.
Oh, yeah, that's
You
what I
get
get,
it-
yeah.
You get it.
Yeah, do any of you read it?
Sometimes.
Well, I try to. You recall that we had tabled shipping containers.
Yes.
There's a fellow who commented the other day, and it's things that we didn't consider. We were talking about shipping containers. Their ordinance says trailers, truck bodies, tanks, semi-trailers, and shipping containers as accessory structures. And if I wanted to play, I could say, well, on my farm, I need a tanker because I'm going to store my diesel fluid in a tanker. And I just wonder, were we not looking at a large enough scope when we were thinking about that? As a protective measure for us, because we're only talking shipping containers, that's a very narrow thing when you're thinking about that as accessory structures. So, he's in Cadillac, Michigan, by the way, and that can be sort of rural up there. So that was there. Third thing, all of you saw this, if you're new to planning, that it's online also with one of their hour-long lunch thingies. But if you've never gone to one of these, you want to go to where is it? Franklin, and have a free chicken lunch. lastly, did everybody read their magazine? It gets back to the road discussion. There was an update on road construction and funding, so just be aware it's in the session. That's all I can, sorry.
I'm just distributing, I can do it after the meeting too.
Okay. What were we getting?
Oh, I just missed out page 5 and 6. You need to replace this in your zoning ordinance with this
Oh.
page, that's all.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to offer? I will do it. Hour 35. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.